What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Play2 podcast, the show where we bring on guests who are in or adjacent to the gaming industry that we think has a story that needs to be told. Today's episode is with Lo3tus. She's an artist / content creator that operates mostly across Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. As a first-generation immigrant from China, she has had to carve her own path, often at times against the will of her parents. And much like Cass Elliott's Anthem of Independence, Lo3tus has been creating her own kind of music, whether the internet likes it or not. In this episode, we cover a wide range of topics, including how Lo3tus has grown multiple platforms from zero to hundreds of thousands of followers with millions of views, the different characters and personas she makes as exaggerations of herself to not only be true to the audience, but to entertain them. And as it's a huge strand of her content, we do discuss dating life, whether it's e-dating or in-person dating in LA. It's a topic that I found particularly interesting. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you do, please make sure you share it with a friend and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify.
You know what they say about gingers?
What do they say about gingers?
Gingers have no soul.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Do you have a soul?
I'm not sure yet.
I don't even know where that came from.
The jury's out. I think it came from South Park.
Oh.
South Park joke about everything. And
I
that one
see.
came up. But I used to get a little bit shit from it at school to the point where it would play in my mind. You know what kids are like? They take everything so seriously. And I was one of those. And then when I started doing MSN, you'll not know what MSN is, I doubt.
Is it the calling thing?
Yeah. Okay, fair.
I used to call my dad on MSN because I was in China. He was in America.
Yeah, it's like an instant
So we use
messaging
Skype
app.
and MSN.
Perfect.
But kids nowadays don't use it anymore.
Well, when I was a teenager, that was like the only way you would talk to girls is through MSN. So every night I would go on MSN and try and chat to girls and so on, but you could have a webcam. So you could do like a video chat and you couldn't hear each other though. It was mostly just video and then you could type and like had a little chat going. And I used to put it on black and white mode because it made me feel more confident. So I've always liked the black and white style as a result.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. It's no longer the case now. I've grown up a little bit.
So that's not your natural hair?
This has got like blonde bits in.
Oh.
The last time we hung out, I think it'll have been natural, maybe. Wait, when did we last hang out?
Last week?
No, it wasn't natural. Before we get into it, how would you actually describe yourself and what you do? Is it artist streamer or artist creator? What
I would say I'm an artist and creator.
Okay.
The art came first before content.
The art came first.
Yes.
Very important we got that right.
Yeah, artist.
Lo3tus. And you don't go by your real name on all online, right?
No, not really.
Why is
Well,
that?
I used to, but then I just feel like it was a rebrand sort of because I used to use my real name with like when I did like other dancing content, fashion content, and then I felt like artist, I needed like a stage name sort of. So I made it up and then I just started going by Lo3tus. And it's easier to remember and I just tell everybody, just call me Lo3tus. My name is like hard to pronounce for people and they can't remember it.
So do your parents call you Lo3tus now?
No. Like people in my life that I've known before I was Lo3tus, like calls me by my real name. But I think it's just like people can't remember my name. Like I've gone a few times where I go to a party and I'll tell them my name. They're like, I can't remember your name. Like just tell me that.
I think I can remember. Well, not say it on the podcast. I can edit. I can bleep it out.
Yes. I don't like everybody saying it.
Right.
Because I think name is a sacred thing. But that might just be a cultural thing for me. I don't know. Do you feel like your name is...
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No, but I can understand, especially from an artist perspective, if you've got two different kind of personas going on. Your real name and your personal life I imagine, is a much more personal because you're contrasting it directly to this online persona that you have. Do you keep things quite separate, or are you pretty much the same character?
Be, but then now it's like the lines are blurring.
Okay.
So I would say, like, I used to be able to keep it separate because I didn't really stream. And then I only posted like artsy clips, like my paintings where I wasn't talking. I wasn't like talking to people on live for hours where like I didn't need to showcase my personality. But then now, because I stream, it's hard to go like 6 hours without being myself for a little bit. So we'll see.
I think it's almost impossible to go 6 hours and not
It's
be
hard.
yourself.
So like I could be experiencing identity crisis sometime because now I actually have more people that knows me as Lo3tus than my real self. And like all my friends now that I meet calls me Lo3tus.
To introduce as Lo3tus.
Yeah, I just go by Lo3tus.
So on that then, tell me exactly, 'cause you live stream, we've established that. But for people listening, what is live streaming separate to gaming? Because I think a lot of listeners will 100% be locked in. They'll know what the concept of gaming is and live streams and how that works. But there's a huge wave of IRL live streams and the just chatting that's come over the last few years. So in layman's terms, if you can, explain exactly what you do.
I would say, so I live stream, but I don't play games. So I didn't grow up playing like League or Valorant. So I'm not a gamer. And then I found that you could just chat with people. So all I do is just talk to a camera and then have like words on screen, and I'll talk to people behind a computer. And while it's like us having a conversation, except you are behind a keyboard typing and I'm talking.
Right. So without the chat, what would you do?
Like if I didn't have a chat? Like what do you mean?
So like if the chat dries up, so essentially for someone listening, you would sit there and you've got some actual people sitting around the world typing away, giving you topics of conversation and interacting and giving you responses and answers. What if that dries up?
You know, it happened when I first started streaming. So I started with like 3 viewers because I had a small social media presence, and I would advertise like, oh, come to my live stream, and I'll have like 1 or 2 people, but I'll pretend that I'm talking to someone.
Right.
So I'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I did this and this today. And then so I could clip it later and then more people could come. But like I'll pretend that there's someone there talking and I'll just yap about myself.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And do you plan before a live stream what you're going to talk about that day? Or do you kind of just go live and be like, let's see what the chat's got going on, what's going on in the news or whatever?
I usually do like to plan out like different segments. I'll like some days I'll do like confessions where people anonymously send stuff and I'll react to it. Or I'll do like therapy session with my community where they'll come and then ask me about a problem, and I'll give them, I usually try to give like really bad advice. So like not real advice, to be honest. And I will do like movie night sometimes. And then for IRL segments, I'll usually have an activity like yesterday, I did a painting stream with my friend. So we painted and talked. And then
Amy?
Yes.
I know Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's one of the first people I met. And
super nice. And she's really good at painting.
Is she?
Yeah, very good. So we painted each other. So I like to plan things, just like what activities, but then talking wise is usually, it's like having a conversation, you know. You don't know where it leads. And I talk a lot, so I think it's not hard for me to come up with stuff to say.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's your full-time gig now. Yeah. Essentially. So how does that actually work? So for people listening, be like, well, how on earth can that possibly be a sustainable form of income?
Well, I would say, so with live streaming, you have subscriptions. So people pay like, I think now it's $7 instead of $5 to subscribe for a month, no ads, and they can donate or they can gift subs. But I also do make not too much from like Instagram. So for clips, you can get paid from posting reels. It's not that much. So both of them combined, like I could pay my rent and have some money for food.
For a long time, I've been considering, it's like, well, what is the benefit of a Twitch sub if the streamer themselves don't create this separate kind of pot of content or separate incentive to give you if you do pay? But I have been watching a lot more Twitch recently, especially when I'm doing more research for the podcast and so on. And the ads
they're crazy.
Excruciating.
It's like 5 ads in a row.
It's crazy.
Like 30 seconds.
So you'll be like on
3
a heater.
minutes.
Yeah.
You're sitting through ads.
Exactly.
So like $7 for no ads for the rest of the month, especially if the streamer streams consistently. I think it's a good deal, in my opinion.
It's like, it is a good deal, especially if they're invested, which a lot of people are, which we'll get into how invested some of these viewers are on a particular person. But like that was how much a Netflix subscription was once upon a time. It's probably a little bit more now. And then you get access to a ton of shows though. Whereas now it's like they're dedicated and they're paying $7 towards one person. But there's other ways that you can make income obviously as well. Like they can do direct donos. One of my friends is a VTuber and they will obviously have this animated character and so on, and different actions and different things that go on in the stream can be
like activates something, right?
Yes, there's some crazy ones in there, which I'm sure you've seen. I think you were saying you Code
Miko. She like makes her boobs big, grow in size for like every $5, which is just crazy. Like honestly, it's kind of funny because the whole point is like you want to get them hyped up for stuff, and when people are happy, they're more likely to like do stuff. So the goal is like entertain, obviously. It's like watching TV show. I like to tell people, just like you're watching someone on TV and then you kind of see what they do and then you can support it.
People buy when they're happy. So right. It's like a concept that shopping has had for a while. You want people to be happy.
Yeah.
You also want them to be drunk. They give champagne out at high-end stores because you make more purchases when you're drunk.
I've had drunk people in my chat donate subs just because they were drunk. I was like, oh, you should watch your drinking. And they'd be like, oh, I'm at the bar. Like, why are you watching Twitch at a bar? There were a few people that like, oh yeah, I'm at the bar watching you. Like, you should be socializing with other people. Like, I always try to encourage my chat to go outside. I know it's like a thing with streamers and like chatters. You don't go outside. You stay inside. But I think it's good to, you know, practice social interactions and talk to people.
I agree. That's definitely a good thing. On that then, actually, just a good segue into the kind of people who stream and like what the catharsis is for a live streamer. So for you, what is it that you get out of it? Obviously, I know income's one thing, but that's separate. I know that's not the reason you do it. What is it for you?
The reason I started streaming was one, like I didn't want to work a 9 to 5. And also I didn't have that many friends. And I was thinking, how can I talk about stuff without like feeling like I'm burdening my friend? Because I talk so much and I like to complain. So then I went on Twitch because then it's like I don't force people to stay and watch me. They can come if they want and they can leave. So it's less pressure on me just like trauma dump on random people.
Okay.
So that was like another reason why I started. But like, I just think it's fun. I don't hate streaming. There was at a point where I hated streaming just because I wasn't regulating my schedule and I didn't know how to. It was like when I first started streaming, I didn't know like how to interact with my chat. And because like sometimes when you stream too much, I feel like it's a real possibility of cutting off like your friends IRL because you're spending so much time chatting with these people. And once like, let's say I talk for 6 hours, I have no energy talking to my friends. Yeah. So then I just like don't talk to them. So I did that when I first started streaming. I would just be in my room talking and I wouldn't interact with my friends anymore. And it just made me so lonely. Right. Because like I was talking to these people, but then like I don't see anybody, you know, in person. So I had to like take a break because it was like mentally too much for me. Like, yeah, so don't do that. Sense.
We'll get into that because I know there's a whole story and lore behind you as a live streamer. And then one question that before we go on, so obviously we've explained why you were interested in doing the streaming yourself, which I get it because I once upon a time did stream and I love it. And the type of people who consume live streams, talk about that into, because there's one way that I would say it is very passive. There's one style where I used to be at work, for example, a second monitor, and I'll throw new Call of Duty's just come out. I would throw Call of Duty on and just watch someone like Nate Shot stream. What's the kind of consumers you think on your side?
I think people go on stream obviously because they're bored or they want to talk to someone. Since I'm more of a just chatting streamer, I talk to like my chat. So I think a lot of people who don't have that many people to talk to in IRL, that's what I think. Like lonely people like go on stream and then like chat with streamers. Right. But like that's also why I started streaming because, you know, I think it's like both ends sometimes. You know, like you're lonely, I'm lonely, let's just talk.
Okay, that kind makes sense. It's catharsis on both sides.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
If you are, like you said, if you're a little bit insecure, if you're a little bit socially awkward and you need someone to still, you need to communicate with people, it's a nice protected way for you to be able to
behind a screen. Exactly. I don't know what you look like. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it because I'll get a lot of people who will be like, well, I don't get the live streaming concept. I don't know the best way to explain it, but that is a good one to explain a cohort of it. I'm curious what your path was to it. So go all the way back to the start.
Oh gosh.
Before you started making content. If there was a 2016, I think you said you started. What were you doing before then?
I think I was in 16 is like sophomore year of high school. I was like so I'm a first gen immigrant from China. And I was just studying a lot in school. I didn't really have that many friends and I was socially awkward. And I started doing content because I thought if I had clout, people will be my friend. So that's why I started. Okay. Like everything comes down to just, I didn't have friends. Right. Like, oh gosh. Yeah, I was a lonely kid. And then I started dancing to K-pop because I liked K-pop a lot. I was kind of a Korea boo at the time. And that's all I talked about to my friends too. And then they're like getting irritated because I'll be like, oh my gosh, did you see what EXO did? And they don't care. It's just like these Asian boys dancing. I was like, I was very parasocial to like the K-pop boys.
Right.
And because I didn't have that community at school, I wanted to talk to people who were also into K-pop. So that's why I started dancing. I sort of have a background growing up in China. I danced, but I stopped after I moved to America and I just picked it up. And it did help me with my confidence because I was pretty insecure. I had glasses. I was in band. Didn't have friends. I was a nerd. And I was like, okay, I want to be cool like these K-pop girls. So then I learned how to dance and post it. And then slowly it like gained traction because at the time I was thinking like, how can I catch people's attention? So I started going to the malls and dance. And I'll make my mom film. It's just so irritated. She's like, oh, this is so embarrassing. I was like, Mom, just hold it. And I'll have a speaker I bring with me. I'll just blast it. I'll just dance. It was so
How
bad.
did you have the confidence to do that?
I don't know. I think I was nervous, but then it was like if I didn't care what like strangers thought about me in public, I wouldn't like care what people said to me online. And people didn't really care that much. And if someone stepped in, it was like a viral video. So I didn't care.
But where did that come? Do you remember where that decision came from? Were you listening to some video on YouTube or did a role model of yours say, oh, you need to go do X, Y, or Z and break out of your comfort zone a little bit? Or did you just naturally think, I've got to go and dance in public to get over this hurdle?
Well, people weren't doing that too. I wanted to stand out because everybody was dancing in the room. So now I was like, I'm going to dance in public. And I want to say like I'm one of the earlier people that started dancing to K-pop like out in the wild because people didn't really listen to K-pop like at the time. So I was one of the OG.
Are those videos still online?
Yeah. It's like on my other account.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll show you later. Yeah. But I was pretty wild and back then. I had a lot of confident. Well, I don't think I'm that insecure of a person, but I think the line between me being super confident and insecure is like very fine line. Yeah. I just have to convince myself and I'll like do it.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
There'll be moments where you're just like, I don't want to do anything. Like, leave me out of it. And then when you convince yourself, it's like, I'm all in now. And you're right.
Exactly.
There's no gray area. It's just on or off.
like yes or no. That's it.
Yeah. I relate to that. So respect. I definitely couldn't dance in public though.
You could try it.
No.
Just pretend they're not there.
I would not be able to do that. That's not me. I'm not wired that way at all. All right, so that's your first time content creating was dancing. And it's interesting that, I'm finding a lot of the times when I'm interviewing creators, their end goal or their end put, whatever they're doing right now, it's never what they started with.
Yeah.
You always start and do different things and you learn and you change and whatever, but it all comes down to like let that creativity kind of ooze through. So you were dancing and then you didn't go straight into full-time content creation at that point. You did take like a more traditional route, right? You were studying...
Yeah. I did econ in college and then like math because my parents wanted me to do that.
Right.
So I was like, okay. And then the plan was for me to work in finance.
Okay.
Like a good Asian kid, came to America. And I did. I mean, I'm not that impulsive, but I think I tend to make a lot of risky decisions because I started painting in senior year of college because I was like, I don't know what to do. Because I went to college, but then I was slacking off my senior year doing whatevers. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I started painting. And I was like, oh, what if I'm an artist? And I told my parents and they're freaking out. They're like, what do you mean? You're not going to like go into finance? It's like, what if I just do like social media and like just try it? And then my mom was so mad at me. They were like, okay, maybe you should, really think about if this is what you want to do and, make sure you have like a good base of, savings and stuff. I was like, no. So that's why I think I struggled more trying to go into streaming without really knowing anything. Because it would have been smarter if I had a job and then did streaming and then slowly build it up. And, at least I have a cushion and then have room to like if I want to take a break I could and then see how I felt. Now I'm just like whatever.
So you just dive straight into streaming from senior year. It was like this is what I'm gonna do. No real kind of plan or experience with it.
No.
No proven income, no
Nope.
anything. Just like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Very, what's that age? Like 18, 19?
Well, no, it was college, so 22.
22. Okay, sorry. I'm terrible at
Nah.
knowing what the... Okay, so you're 22. Fair enough.
Like, but so what I did to make money on streaming was I cried all the time. Because I was like, guys, I'm like so broke. I'm so stressed.
It's a good tactic.
Give me some subs.
It's not sustainable, I imagine.
No, because I'd constantly be crying and like feeling bad. And then, so it was a bad cycle because I think you kind of attract what energy you put out. So I was attracting a lot of people who were also depressed and not doing well. So we'd just be crying on stream. It was so bad.
That
and I'd call my parents
like a spiral
about it. And they're like, see, we told you should have got a job. And then, so because I didn't want to prove them right, I didn't get a job right away. I stuck it out for a year. I was like not making that much. I don't even know how I survived, honestly. And then, I was like, maybe I should think about getting a job and like stabilize at least a part of, that part, and then make some money and then maybe go back.
And at that point, what content were you making other than crying on camera?
I was also like clipping stuff for my stream.
But what else were you doing? Like, were you still dancing at this point? Were you playing? No. Okay.
I was just painting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But I didn't really post that much art because like I think my art content didn't do as well. There's like a different algorithm for like artists, and I was like, I need to get viral. I need to get viral. I need to go viral. So then people were like, the more eyes that I have on me, the better it is, because then at least 10% will like look at my art. Yeah. So that's all I care about, like going viral. So I like stopped posting my art. I just focused on like clipping stuff, and then I got a job, and I was like, oh, I'm set. I don't need to do streaming anymore. I don't need to cry all the time.
So the streaming element became more of a financial incentive at the time, as opposed to I'm doing something I love.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So I wasn't going in it with like the right mindset, because I did think I was naive, and I was like, wow, if I stream, I can make so much money. Look at all these people making so much money. But I didn't really think about how long it took for people to like
or how sustainable that is if you don't love it. I think that's very common though. I think a lot of people want to be YouTubers because they see how much money they're making. They want to be live streamers to see how much money they're making. It's like, do you actually love it though? And are you going to be able to make it to that point? You know? And it's not about making it to a destination either. You've got to like enjoy the process, right? Yeah. Okay, so you weren't enjoying the process at this point.
No. So I got a job, and then I did not like my job. So I worked as a marketing manager for a startup. I started as like the social media associate, and then because it was with startups, you kind of do a lot of stuff. So I was like doing social media, I was scheduling like photo shoot, planning events, hiring people. I was HR as well. And I was like, and I'm not getting paid more. And then I see how much money they're making. I guess just to ruin my own day, I was like, okay, I calculated how much bra or like clothing, they're selling like feminine products. Right. So I was like, okay, if I put this much, because I took the price of like the product, and then I took my salary, and I was like, how many bras am I worth? So I calculated, I was like, damn, they can make my whole salary in a day. This sucks. And I have to slave away for a year. So like I got my coworker, I was like, hey, check how much you're worth. So we were checking.
In bras.
Yeah.
That's the metric.
I was like, damn, this sucks. And I can't. It was so bad. So I like would call my parents, like, I want to quit. And my mom, she was like originally so happy that I got a job. And then like 6 months later, I keep telling her I want to quit. She's like, just do what you want, like save some money. And then, like, I think she kind of stopped fighting me on stuff because I don't listen to her. I just do what I want. And then she's like, okay, just like, make sure you have some money, you're not broke, have some savings so you can pay rent, and then, figure out what you want. And then she said, maybe you can do like streaming on the side. So I was like, maybe I should pick it back up. So it's no pressure. So I started streaming again. Like,
it's nice that your mom was at least supportive of doing the stream and wasn't a completely blocker to it.
Yeah, so she knew not to go to like mom on me, or else I might just quit my job before I had savings.
Right.
So I don't think I'm impulsive though sometimes, I do tend to be a little rash. make bad decisions.
No, you got to take risks though. There's a good balance between it. So you met in the middle and you got a bunch of savings together. And were you live streaming whilst you were getting the savings, at least part-time live streaming?
So I stopped streaming, I want to say for like half a year. And then I picked it back up again.
What was the moment? Was there a particular moment that you were like, I have to go back to this? Because you'd quit because you didn't like it, or you'd lost the love and it was just for money. Was there something that changed, or?
I think because I hated my job so much, I was like, I'm gonna try this again, but then approach it from a less like money-driven aspect. Because now that I'm making money, I wouldn't do it as like a sole source of income. So I wanted to see if I still liked it.
Okay.
And then I wanted to quit my job. So since like March of 2024 was when I started posting a lot on Instagram. So people like sometimes people ask me like, oh, how did you grow? Because I think I'm much bigger on Instagram than Twitch. So there was some point where people would come in my stream and they're like, you have so many followers on Instagram, but like not that many people watching you. And I was like, because I clip so much. So I started posting 3 times every day.
Wow.
Like clipping. So I was like, the only goal I had in mind was to quit my job. So I'm going to quit my job. So I'm going to post 3 times a day, every day.
And that was March 2020.
2024.
2024, sorry.
Yeah. So I was at...
And what were you at that point?
80K. So I grew
80K.
My original account to like 80K when I was streaming, and I took a break.
Yeah.
And then I started posting 3 times every day. And it's like a quantity thing. So if you post 10 times, one of them's going to go viral. I think there's no way if I post like 3 times, that's 24 times a week.
So, yeah, it's 90.
Yeah,
90
so like
a month.
And sometimes I'll push myself to do 4. So at one point I was doing 3-4 clips every day.
Wow.
And so one of them, so it really helped because then I started appearing a lot on people's algorithms. Yeah. And then that like the momentum picked up. That's
like 40 to 50K growth a month since then.
So I hit like 500, I think December.
Yeah. And you're like, it's now January and you're on 550 or something. I saw the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's insane growth.
Consistency. It's very important.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, you've gone from streaming for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Gone for money and things like that and whatnot. And then went and tried the real world. Didn't like it. The 9-to-5 approach where everyone tells you to do, which I'm with you. I don't think it's the right thing to be doing.
Yeah.
If you have an inclination inside of you to go and try something different. So it's good for you for going back. Was there a moment where you really doubted yourself at all during that time to be like, I don't know if I can go back after having failed in quotations once before?
Definitely. I think even now sometimes I'll be like, oh, what if like people will stop watching me and stuff? But I think what got me through that time honestly was like I hated my job so much that I'm like, there has to be a better thing in life, because I saw how much money these like the boss was making and everything. And I was like, damn, and I hated just being told what to do and not having a say in what I want. And that was like the main factor that drove me. Okay. But then I will always like tell myself every time I felt like, oh gosh, what is this not going to work? What if I'm going to fail? Like there's a voice in my head that's like, no, like as long as you are consistent, it's not possible to fail.
Do you think that voice is the catalyst to keep you consistent though?
Yeah. Like sometimes I'll feel like I'm burning out, but then I don't know, because I have a bigger goal. Like I'll think of like what I want. I'm like, if I stop now, like I already quit my job and I already came this long way. And the reason why I am consistent is because there were moments, I think I had many opportunities to blow up on social media. I just kind of stopped posting. Like with my dance account, I was growing pretty fast for me at the time. I was invited to like KCON LA. It was like a K-pop convention. And I don't know, I kind of lost interest in it in college, and I got distracted by other stuff. So I stopped posting. And then, once you stop, it's kind of hard. So that account kind of died. And then I started like TikTok accounts, like 2 TikTok accounts during COVID. And then both of them went to like 600K. Wow. And I just like gave up. because I don't even know why. I
What
just
were
like
the two
stopped.
TikTok accounts?
It was like one of them was, I was posting thirst traps,
What do you mean?
like dance videos, kind of, but
Okay.
like thirst trap dance videos, and
You were part of the cycle of TikTok. So I have a theory on this. Tell me the other one, but I'm going to go back to that.
okay. The other one was I blew up from posting like fashion videos. So during COVID, there were these. I don't know if you saw like street videos of people in China like walking on the street. It was like different fashion.
Yeah, it's like a different song, or it kind of looked like a fashion show, but in the street.
Yeah, so I started that trend.
Really?
So I took, because it was during COVID, and then I didn't like how people were like, oh, China, blah, blah, you know, the racism was going crazy. So
Of course, because
I was,
everyone
I said, I'm going to do
blamed
something
China.
to change people's like perspective about China. So there's a Chinese TikTok, it's called Douyin. And then I just took like clips from people walking on the streets. And I was like, oh, the fashion's super cool. And they're from like, where I'm from, Sichuan. So I clipped it and then posted it to like Blackpink. I think they were really
Of course
viral.
it was
So that
Blackpink.
video went viral and everybody was like, oh my gosh, Chinese people have such cool fashion. So but then like that account just became more about like other people than like what I wanted to do. So that was
Right.
the reason why I stopped. I probably got distracted. I was e-dating heavy during that time.
Okay. E-dating.
Yeah. Have you ever e-dated before?
I've never e-dated before, but
You know what it is, right?
it's essentially dating somebody online.
Yeah. So I was like locked up inside, and then making videos helped me have something to do in my life. But then I stopped because I started like talking to someone on Discord. Yeah. And then,
But it's just the same. What's the difference between e-dating and a long distance relationship?
well, I think e-dating, because I think long term you start in person.
Right.
But I've never met this person. I just met them online.
And you FaceTime and
Well, we
stuff?
FaceTime, but then
Okay.
it's like we never met.
yeah,
Like in
okay.
person, we just like talked. Like
So
dating my
e-dating
phone.
took you away from the content creation.
Kind of. It was like, oh, this content's too much. I'm lonely. I'm going to talk to someone on Discord.
This was during COVID.
Yeah.
Understandable, though.
So that's like two instances where I wasn't consistent and then I flopped. So 3 accounts flopped because I didn't want to post.
All right.
I got like distracted, bored, depressed. So now when I locked in, the only thing I told myself is to never stop posting. Like I think, like I just remind myself like stop post, like don't ever stop posting because you know what'll happen. And yeah.
I think that's testament, though, to show that you have genuine experience and a proven track record on how to grow a social media account and how to go viral with it. So that all isn't for nothing. And I know you said that you've stopped and those are dead now and stuff, but it's all accumulated towards being able to do what you're doing today and have the knowledge to be like, this clip's going to go well, because every single clip you put out does numbers pretty much.
Yeah.
Like it's very common. So you've clearly like figured out the system a little bit, and we'll go into that type of content as well, like the different layers, like the hygiene content, the hub. But back to the thirst trap stuff on that TikTok. I had
What
a
was your
theory on
theory?
this, right? So it was back in the day, TikTok had just come out. There's a lot of young guys on TikTok, right? A lot of females on TikTok making thirst traps.
Yeah.
And the protection for a young dude on TikTok compared to an Instagram is that they can show that they've liked a piece of content anonymously. On Instagram, if you go through and you like content, you can see Mickey has
Well, there
liked
is
this.
a tab where they see who you like.
No, it's locked on TikTok. So
you could hide it.
No, you definitely can't. You can't hide it on Instagram. So TikTok unlocked this ability for the users, or let's say the young guys at this point, to show their appreciation for certain content, actually like it without their parents seeing it or whatever.
Really?
Then the person creating the content gets more catharsis, gets more dopamine, like, oh, they like that content more than others. It was the first time in social media history that kids could actually engage and like with that style of content. And then became a loop of that female makes more of that content, so that guy likes more of it and then spends more time on the app and so on. And it's because they locked the like. I think they knew what they were doing when they locked the like. I'm going to take a minute to tell you guys a little bit about some Millhouse products. So throughout this podcast, you may have seen that I've got a clipboard. It's not actually a clipboard. It is number 1 of 100 on our headphone stand in the green. So I'll open it up there. Hopefully the camera can see that. What you get with this product is marble base, the aluminium frame that you will build yourself, and then incense cones in the middle of it, which is pretty cool. And the completed piece is just like this piece here on my left where the headphones are on. And the reason we made it with that marble ashtray below is, you know, we appreciate a lot of people smoke weed in the gaming setup, maybe cigars, maybe cigarettes, hopefully not cigarettes. You take the headphones off, but you light the incense in that ashtray. That's the main reason, hence why we gave you the incense, because we want your gaming setup to smell nice. You spend a lot of time there, it gets sweaty. I've been there myself. Candles and incense are going to be a big hit. If you are currently in a gaming setup and you don't have a candle or any sort of smell in your gaming setup, go check out millhouse.gg. See our range of products. All right, where were we?
Thirst traps. Honestly, thirst traps, you know, the reason I started that account was actually for econ project, because so at the time during COVID, I had to go home, right? But then if I had a winter project to do, like a thesis with a professor, then I could get to stay in school. So I was like, hey, professor, I have this paper I want to do on econ where I talk about, or I experiment with like what it takes to go viral. And then I stayed, like, I just wanted housing. That's why I started. And then so I started posting thirst traps to like trending songs. And then I actually went viral. So yeah, it was for housing. That was why I started.
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay.
So that was the real reason for a school project.
Yeah. Okay.
Educational purposes.
I'm sure the teacher was all on board with that and understood exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, he was like, wow, this is very interesting. I was like, yeah. I had to like do a whole report on like how long the video was, like what I wore, and then like what I did, like what sound I used, and then like the comments and stuff.
We really broke it down.
Yeah, I did.
The Mr. Beast of the thirst traps over there.
Thirst traps. I knew it was going to work. I was like,
you
yeah.
were raw. I gave you that.
But the thing is, like, when I wore red, I noticed a lot of my viral video had like, I was wearing red.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's like true.
That makes sense. You know the concept of the girl in the red dress?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when you go on a first date, you should wear red. Really? That's what people say. So you could like catch their, I don't know, men are more
drawn to it.
Yeah.
It's the red lipstick.
Is that true?
Red shoes.
Like red clothing?
It's definitely more eye-catching, for sure. I don't know the psychology behind it, but I know the concept of the girl in the red dress in the Matrix. Don't be distracted by it. Focus on your goals. Get back to work.
You gotta lock in.
You were the girl in the red dress in the Matrix during COVID then?
Yeah, it was. One of my videos went viral in Mexico. Randomly, I was just dancing in a hoodie. See, I wasn't even thirst trapping though. I call it thirst traps, but I wasn't wearing anything crazy. Okay. Like I'll probably just wear like a skirt sometimes, but my viral videos had just me like wearing a hoodie literally. So I was just dancing.
It is, like I said though, it is testament to like, you clearly have figured out a good way to get people's attention on the internet. So well
yeah,
done.
I have. Thank you.
To embark on the creative pursuit, I would say, and searching for like your ikigai, your passion in life and so on, it takes a much more worked on person and someone who's very introspective to actually be successful. So you do have to like really look at yourself a lot if you're trying to get on this creative endeavor and do something a little bit out of the norm.
Yeah.
Because no one's really blazed your exact trail before. Because being creative, you said one of your things is the most unique thing about yourself is it's you. There's no one else out there that can replicate what you do, which is a huge superpower in itself, but does pose that problem of like, you have to be working on yourself. I do want to jump into like the role of being vulnerable when you are a creative and having the ability to just be like open online and explain who you are, what helps you and what doesn't. But you did like a solo podcast on that for a while. Talk to me a little bit about that and how that helped you and why you did that.
With like my solo podcast, I wanted to be more like show a different side of me where I wasn't just. So I would say my online image right now is like, because of the clips that I post, I only clip moments that I know is going to do well. So it's sort of like very sus things, stuff that's just, a little bit raunchy sometimes.
bit.
A little bit raunch. Like, I don't think my content's too crazy, but I just like say stuff sometimes that is, you know, the implications
I would
of it
describe
all.
a lot of the clips that you're talking about specifically, I
Yeah.
would describe as audible OnlyFans.
Yes. But then like it's like on the line of I'm teasing an idea.
Which is sometimes more than
Exactly.
a picture paints 1,000 words or whatever.
Exactly.
And
So like I'll just be saying stuff and people are like, oh, what the heck? And I think because I am very vocal about some stuff like that, people like it catches people off guard. And I think sometimes like the way I look might have a factor with like what I say, and they're like, well, I did not expect this coming from you. It's like, yeah, you know, the contrast, I like to say, it's always good to have contrast.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
And that led you, just like you say, you're very vocal as a person. So those solo podcasts come quite naturally to you as someone who likes to talk a lot. And
yeah, I wanted to be more, you know, actually have a purpose in helping people some way, like talking about, you know, how sometimes I deal with like feeling insecure, or so I attract a different audience where they're like, oh, she's not just saying whatever's online for views. She actually thinks, well, like I went to college, of course I think.
yeah,
So yeah.
that leads into a question I did write down. It's like, I want to know what your thoughts are on being perceived in a certain way from like the hygiene clips. You know, you post these clips that you know are going to grow your account, but may not be the long-term goal of what you want to be doing. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that and the ability to break away from certain perceptions?
I've been thinking about that a lot recently, because right now I would like to, because while those clips did help me a lot, I don't know if I'm like attracting the type of crowd that I really want, because I started like I wanted to grow my account to expose people to my art. And I was talking to my friend about this, and I just said, I think I'm at a point where I could pivot, which is what I'm going to try and do, and pivot towards more like art. Like, because I don't want to get to a point where what has been working gets like too successful to the point where I can't go back, because it's like my main source of income. I can't really break away from it. So I don't want to get that far. So I think I'm at a middle ground. It's like I'm at 500. I have 500K more before 1 million. If I could convert those, like have the rest of that to be more art oriented, that would be great.
Yeah. I think the fact that you're even thinking about that shows that you're on the right direction though. And I don't think there is an issue with having different pillars of content. You know, you said it yourself where you've got one style that's going to get way more views, but then that brings in a huge audience, maybe 5%, 10% convert into the other stuff. I don't think that's a negative way as long as you're happy making the content. I think that comes down to the most important thing. It's like if you like making the content, you like getting those clips.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an issue with it. And I think the fact that you actually recognize it, that there is a longer term goal at play, which we'll definitely get into when we talk about the fashion stuff more.
Do you think, I have a question. Do you think creators need to have a niche?
Do they need to have a niche?
Yeah.
I think if you want to be successful quickly and grow, I think you definitely should have a niche, or at least a handful of niches to go into. But speaking for myself as someone who I do love making content, I don't make anywhere near enough. If I did go into the consistency route, which I know you say is the biggest thing, if I did get consistent, I would never be able to stick to a niche. I would always have to change it up and do different things, and it would have to then become more about the individual you're following. Yeah. So, because
I do, like, I've talked to people, because the thing with like my content, I think a lot of clips is good, but then I don't, like, some people tell me like, oh, you don't really have an exact niche, so sometimes it can be hard to get like brands. I feel like that could be a problem, but I also don't like boxing myself in, so I always like have to think about, those were like some comments that like discouraged me a bit from the beginning, because it made me feel like, oh, I didn't know, like, am I not like good enough to get like brands, because people are confused with what my content is about. But then I think with like niches, I don't want to be like, I want to be a creator like Lotus and then can do whatever she wants, versus like, oh, stream me and then Lotus.
Yeah.
Because then I'm stuck.
I think it's just important that you make pillars. And there's no set rules for any of this. Again, this is still such a new thing. And no one's done it before in the exact way you're doing it. So it's kind of like your path to carve, which doesn't make it any easier, I suppose. But the way I would see it is just have pillars of content of like every week or every month, like here's 6 different things that I can fall into. And those 6 different things will naturally trickle into brands. So let's say, I know you did a cooking stream the other day. If one of your pillars was a cooking stream on a regular basis that you clip up properly and you get those viral clips, HelloFresh and Gusto and all these brands that make the ready meals and send you the ingredients, that's like an easy sub-niche sponsorship that works. If you're talking more about the raunchy clips and things like that, you can go to like a Hims or any of these brands. I think it's Hims.
What is that?
It's like pills for sex, basically.
You know, I got a male sex toy company asking me to, I'm like, I'm not a guy.
There you go. But your audience is 95% male down to
85 now.
There you go. Congratulations.
But like, why would, like, if you're a guy, right?
I'm a guy.
If I'm selling you like a male sex toy, are you going to believe me that it works?
Well,
I don't
that's
think
for your content. I haven't seen the content yet, so you tell me you tell me if it works.
No, I feel like that I was surprised when I saw that, but it kind of makes sense.
It makes sense because your audience is male.
If I was a woman, like a guy's like, use this rose toy. I'm like, you don't even know how it works.
I think that's very different.
Really?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I don't think a male could sell a female sex toy to a woman.
But
Definitely
you think
not.
A woman can sell?
Yes, I do.
Well, I did see Sydney Sweeney selling like, I think body wash.
Okay.
Like it was
Male
for guys. Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing.
I see. Okay. I was like, well,
as much as everyone's the same role human, guys are very different to girls and girls are very different to guys in certain aspects.
I see.
Were they offering good money?
I don't know. I just saw like male sex toys. Like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that.
So the line has been drawn in the sand.
Yeah.
Good for you. But no, definitely there's sub niches that you can get. So if you go deep on the art stuff as one of your pillars, there's going to be brands in the art space, or there'll be collaborations you could do, and you could design, you know, like with the Millhouse products, if you want to do like one-off art designs that come through you and then you sell them to your audience, it's like they're the kind of things that always work.
That's true.
I think the answer is always yes in this creative space, isn't it? How has live streaming helped balance being an introvert and your confidence?
You know, I wouldn't say I necessarily have more friends now, but I think I've definitely gotten better at talking. Because another reason I started streaming was because I wanted to be able to hold up a conversation because I wasn't really good at it. And then so I have like free reign with whatever I want to say. So, you know, if people are interested in staying and watching me for hours, that means I'm interesting and people want to learn about me. So then I just kept talking and then trying to engage people, entertain them.
Right.
So that helped.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Finding your purpose with streaming. Like, I think it's important to dive into this because you said in one of your podcasts, it's like you got to try things and find what your passion is in life. Mm-hmm. How have hobbies and creative outlets helped fill like a void for you?
I think I have too many hobbies sometimes. Like I just want to try a lot of stuff that I wasn't able to try when I was younger. Cause I like to put it this way, like I grew up not knowing that I could pursue something that's creative. Cause you know, for me, it's like doctor, lawyer, engineer. And because I didn't really have opportunities to try other stuff when I was a kid, besides like piano, and I was in band and I did tennis, all for like college apps.
Yeah, okay.
But because I didn't have that now that, you know, I'm making my own money and I'm not living with my parents, they can't tell me what to do. I was like, I want to try different stuff. So painting was one of them. And then I tried learning how to DJ for a little bit. That was interesting. And I also started like sewing stuff on clothes, like fashion. That's another like something I want to pursue as well, like art, fashion, and then music. I picked up the drums because I want to be in a band one day, like just in case someone's like, we need a drummer. And
why would someone at home like give someone at home a reason to go and try new things? Like, what's important about it?
I just think it's cool to like have a talent or hobby that you could talk about, and it's also good to meet people. I think in those different communities, like community building is important, and I can get people to like if I go to art show, I can talk to people about like art And then drumming, I can talk to people about music. It's like I can hit different groups of people.
Yeah.
Expand my social circle.
Helps creative outlet as well, in the sense
Yeah.
of like, yeah, even if you are going to work and you don't enjoy it, but you've got something that you're coming home to and actually work towards. I know you said once upon a time that when you were working, you didn't enjoy waking up and getting to that job, but you had so much energy when you were leaving because it's like, I'm going to go live stream.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do something I love. And it's important that you have that kind of hobby. It was the exact same for me. I used to stream like Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays. And those days would fly by because I was like thinking about what I was going to stream that night and so on. So I think it's so important that you have some form of creative outlet as a baseline, but then more so if you do actually have that desire and dream to change up what you're doing with your life in the longer term, you need something that is a passion that you can see doing for the rest of your life. And then you can work out how to make that financially viable afterwards.
Yeah. And I think it's also good to not turn every aspect of your life into content.
That's a good. That's something I struggle with.
Really?
Yeah. So that's where my mind goes every time. And I had a fiance once upon a time, and during COVID, we built a TikTok account together to 600,000 followers, and it was all equestrian based because she was a horse rider, and I looked at it purely from like a business perspective as opposed to like, this is going to be fun. It was fun for a long time, but then it became more of like, all right, we've got to do X, Y, and Z. And then I would go out and get deals. And then it's like, now we've got deliverables to do and you have to hit it. And I could tell that she just lost a lot of love for it because it became a business.
Oh, so was it like a couples content thing?
No.
Oh.
As much as in hindsight, I think I would have loved to have done that. But no, this was purely her. She was a horse rider. I had a bunch of horses and stuff.
Okay.
And I would just like tell her exactly how to do it and I would help manage it and I would speak with brands and get her deals. Got to the point where I was like, if we keep going with this, you could quit your job and go full time on it. And then I think that's when she kind of was just like, no, I'm not interested. So it's important that you say that. And it's like, not everything has to become a creative endeavor to be paid. It can just be go do your job that pays you if that's what you want to do, but then afterwards get fulfilled by doing something.
Yeah. So I always try to have like one hobby. Like I think for music with my drumming, it's because like I knew that at some point I would like to monetize my art and fashion. I wanted something that wasn't necessarily I'm doing it for money. So like drumming was something I picked up just because I wanted to try it. And one thing I always tell people is like I will I'll never post my relationships on the internet.
Okay.
And because I actually saw a video today. It was like a girl doing like 2024 dating life wrapped. Like those videos do so well. Like you just talk about your dates, people like you were dating. I kind of talk about it, but then it's like everything in the past. I don't actively talk about like if I'm seeing someone right now, I wouldn't like post it on the internet. Like because I think that should be private. But like you make so much money on couples content, you know? Like there's so much money in that, but I feel like once you step in there, your relationship's over. Because how many couples on the internet do you know that has made it? I always hear them break up.
I don't know. There's one guy who I actually love his content. It's Jamie Lang. He was on a reality show called Made in Chelsea in England, and him and his wife, her name's Sophie. They make couples content together, and it is like so funny. They'll see like a challenge or something on TikTok that they'll try and recreate, and it's extremely cute, very funny, very endearing. They haven't broke up, but that's not what they built their content on. But I do want to jump into that because I know relationships and dating content is a very big pillar of yours.
Oh gosh,
where did that come from?
So when I talk about stuff, I realize my chats were more responsive when I talk about a relationship, like talking about dating is good or bad, and then on Instagram, the videos of me talking about relationships started doing really well. So I was like, okay, I'll just start like talking about stuff. Most of them are true, but some of them I kind of like exaggerate, you know? And then for a while, like I had different tropes, like different eras of me on as Lo3tus. Like when I first started posting on there, like my clips, my thing was I was a virgin. And then so I would like go on stream. I'm like, oh yeah, like every time we talk about relationships, I'll like say a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, what do I know though? I'm a virgin. And, and then people in my chat was like, no way, what? I was like, I know, I just trying to save myself for the right person. It was so believable that they believed me, and then I'll post it. And I remember one of my video that I archived was, it got like 2 million views, and it was me responding to like a confession. And then the confession was, how old would you date? And I was like, as long as he's alive. It's fine. And then I got so many old guys like, oh my gosh, I'm 50 years old. Does that work? In my DMs, and I realized, you know, what I say have consequences. That's when I learned. I was like, oh, this is pretty bad. And it was at the time where I think Instagram didn't have like because now if people send you like a picture, you don't see it. Like you have to accept it, then you see the picture.
Okay.
But then I think at the time they didn't. So I was getting like pictures of like old men. I was like, oh gosh, this is so bad. So I stopped going with the whole virgin thing. I was like, guys. And then my next trope was I just take a lot else. I never get people, like I say I don't get bitches. Sorry, excuse me.
You can swear, don't worry.
Okay. Yeah, I say I don't get bitches because one of my video that blew up was I was on Jubilee. It's like I
don't know what that is.
So they do a lot of different like videos for like dating. So the video I was in was like
the side men do the Tinder video. Yeah, okay.
So I was in a 50 singles swipe. So it's 50 guys, 50 girls, and then we do like swipe left.
Yeah.
I got swiped left 5 times in a row. And oh my gosh. At that
Is
day,
that
I was
scripted?
Like, no, it's not.
You actually got swiped?
So I was wearing this.
R.I.P.
So I wore like this white dress, and I wore these like red shoes. It's like a traditional sort of inspired Chinese shoes, and it has like a thing that goes up. It's like pointy.
A little bell on the end?
No, but they look kind of like elf shoes a little bit. Yeah, so I wore it. And then I clipped it. I reacted to it on Twitch. I was like, there's no way I took 5 L's in a row. Like, what was wrong with like me? And then I posted on Instagram, and people were like, oh my gosh, girl, you're so pretty. How could they reject you? And then some people were like, it's the shoes.
Yeah. So that then fishes for engagements and comments.
And then sometimes, you know, I'm the girl that takes L's on shows. It's fine.
Okay, so you start making different characters within your own character of Lotus. That's so smart.
L for Lotus. Lotus, you know.
So you know Theo Von?
Huh?
Do you know the comedian Theo Von?
Yeah.
He does that. Like he's amazing at coming up with stories that just clearly are not true, and he just goes with it. So that's an art form to it.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. What would you actually give as legitimate tips to viewers? Like, so a lot of the gaming audience is the same as the Twitch audience who sit at home. They are struggling to kind of speak to women. And it is a bit of an epidemic, which we'll get into the dating apps in LA specifically. But before we get into that, what advice would you actually give to men to attract or even approach women?
I get a lot of people asking me like, would you date a guy that's 5'6"? Would you date a guy that's shorter than you? Would you date a guy that like, they'll say some physical attributes that's like, but I'm not going to date someone just because they're hot. Like, you know, I'm over that phase.
No
in college, oh yeah. If I saw a guy that was hot, I don't really care. But now, I think my frontal lobe's developing. I'm turning 25 soon. I'm like, yeah, I understand, you know, what dating is, sort of. But like, I don't know, because I don't have that much dating experience.
But you're right though, and it's important that, you know, the guys that do watch your streams and so on, if they are in their minds trying to attract the girl or attract the female, and that's what they're looking for, it's like, don't look to attract a specific person, or even just don't even look to attract somebody else. Attract yourself. It's like, what are you going to be proud of that you've done? You know, and tick off some boxes, get some pearls on your necklace every day. And it's like, right, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to read a little bit of a book that I'm interested in. I'm going to learn a new hobby. Just become a better version of yourself than you were last week. And then naturally the byproduct of that is you will become more attractive to other people. And I think that's something that a lot of guys will miss on, especially, you know, people who just do sit and try and like ask for validation from a streamer.
Yeah, I just think it's like so pointless. And also if you say like, oh, this girl didn't like me because she thought I wasn't like jacked, Well, if you want to like you, then go to the gym.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell them too, like, okay, then if you want, like, this, they're not worth it if they don't, like you for who you are. But also, if you really want her, then go work out and be who she wants you to be.
Yeah.
Like, you only have 2 options.
But
like, that's it.
I would counter that and say, find it within yourself.
Exactly.
If you want to be jacked.
Because you realize, though.
If you want to be jacked, go get jacked.
Once you start working out, I think, like, the motivation could be, I want to be more attractive for this person. But then as you work out, you realize, I think the process, you realize that, oh, what the heck? I don't really need to validate this person. But then you need to start, and then you hit that realization. Then you, like, become a better version.
Do you think a lot of your chat would see you as, like, the girl that they speak to on a regular basis? And they don't speak to any other women?
Oh, honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised. Some of them.
Yes, not all of them, absolutely not. But do you think there's a percentage of Twitch viewers and other live stream viewers that will be subscribed to a female or male creator and that may be their only, like, in quotations for want of a better word, love interest?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, because sometimes there are people who I feel like are a little too parasocial with me in chat. But I do tell them, like, press 1 if you went outside today. Why didn't you go outside? Yeah. And then I will try to encourage them to talk to other people and not just talk to me. I'll, like, remind them, like, I'm just an e-girl on the internet. I'm not real. Like, I'm real, but, there's a degree. I don't know, though. But I sometimes feel like the streamer and chat line could be blurred if we wanted to. But I try to keep it, like,
absolutely. The reason I ask is just because I have no idea.
Because I want people to be able to live, like, a life. Because I think it's so. Of course, if I really wanted to, I'll be like, oh my gosh, why are you talking to other girls? Like, really get them in that parasocial, like, relationship. But then it doesn't feel right. I don't need that. I don't want to do that to people.
And then we spoke about it off the podcast, but it is interesting as from a streamer's perspective to be dating in 2 ways. It's like, do you want to be having your relationship public because it could affect the relationship in a positive or a negative way? Who knows? But then also could affect the level of viewership you've got and the level of revenue that you make. It does make me curious because I know you mentioned some people will be in relationships and they'll hide that fact. Yeah.
Some people do that. There's definitely streamers out there that, like, don't disclose that they have a boyfriend, which I understand, obviously, because if you might, like, lose, I don't know.
And it puts a lot more pressure on the relationship, I would say.
And what if that person's not on social media and they're, like, subjected to people saying, oh, he's this, he's that. Oh, wow. Like, that's not fair. They don't need to be reading all that comments.
Dating. That's one thing I want. In LA, you did, like, a whole
my dating my 20s.
Yeah, that was it.
I think my dating experience is not great because I've relied on dating apps, and I've never, I think, truly had a kind of experience where I met them organically somehow. And by organic, I mean just non-dating apps.
What do you think it is about the dating apps that's so failing?
It just feels awkward sometimes. Like, it's like we're skipping the getting to know stage, and we're just jumping straight into it.
Yeah, it's almost like, because I am on dating apps, and
I
live in LA. Yeah, I am, and I've actually just sacked all my subscriptions off like a month ago, but they're still there. So and the notifications ramp up when you cancel the subscriptions. So you clearly get more. But it's almost like you make up a full persona about the person once you've matched with them. You look at their profile and you make up this perfect image about them. And in a blue moon, if you do actually decide to meet up with people, because I find that people don't actually meet up. You'll match with someone, which shows intention, and they don't leave their house, which is crazy to me. You go on a date and you'll have a great time. They won't be exactly who you thought they were, which naturally no one ever is. You post your perfect self on these dating apps, and then you'll have a great time. I'll be on a high on the way home in the car, listening to music, and I was like, that was a really nice date. And then ping, Raya, new connection. And you can't help but be curious and be like, okay, so I've just gone from like this high of being on a date and I've pulled up on my driveway. It's like, well, I want to know what that new connection is because it's somebody I've liked in the past that's just like me. So let's click on it. And you look at it and it's like, okay, it's now back to that 100% perfect person that has no flaws because you've not met them yet.
Yeah.
So you then forget about the date you've just had and you're into this weird vicious cycle of there's always something better, and people I think forget to water the grass that they're standing on a lot of the time when it comes to the dating, and these apps are the catalyst for it, I think.
Yeah, I do agree. I also think that with dating apps, they put two people that aren't supposed to be together together. Do you ever think about it?
That's a really good point.
Because I think about like there are people that I've met through dating apps, right? And after we break up, I never see them again. And I'm like, we weren't ever supposed to be in each other's lives. They just drag two random people and force them together, and then of course it's not gonna work. So I think about it. After I thought about that, I was like, maybe I should just not use dating apps and then let whoever is supposed to be in my life that I'm supposed to meet, and then, because then you have to force, because the thing with dating apps, I think, is like two people, we have different lives, and then you have to make time out of your day, and then you like hang out with them. So it's very it feels like a sudden shift in what I'm supposed to do versus, let's say I meet someone who is while I'm doing content and like they work in the same industry, and then we kind of line up already. Like that feels more natural.
That's a good point. Yeah, you almost feel like you're put on an alien planet a lot of the time on these dating apps because it's like
we're not supposed to meet.
Huge amount in common. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good way of putting it. And I think you're right. I think if I was programming an app and if I owned a dating app right now and I was money oriented and driven, I would say let's algorithmically put people on dates that are not going to last, so they have to keep coming back and paying subscriptions.
Exactly.
I've never thought about it that way. I think you've nailed that as some of the psychology. Yeah, dating in LA is tough. I think another thing I always think about is that there's a lot of passengers and tourists in LA, people who are not here with roots, and they've come in from different cities around the world to try and make it, and they themselves know they're not even staying here.
That's what I hate sometimes. Like I'll meet someone and they're like, "Oh, I'm actually moving back too." I'm like, "Why are you on a date with me?"
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna date someone who's gonna leave.
It's very
it's like,
fleeting.
we're just here for a fun time. You can have your fun time. It's not fun for me. Not fun for me.
You said something and it kind of hit me, and it was a really good point. If you need me to go into more details to what this is, let me know. But you said something about the third space.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I was saying back in the day that like people would go to work and then they have their house and then they like go to a bar, or I guess people still go to bars, but then there's just no community where you get to meet people. So then, because everybody's at home, work from home, and
So your first space is home, would you say? Is that, and then second space is work.
Yeah. And
then third space is like, that's the bit that's a little bit missing and lost.
Yeah. That's why people now go on Twitter or go on online communities. I guess online communities are our third spaces now.
But it's tough to make that actual connection with another human if you can't look them in the eyes.
Exactly. Like I would say
important.
Instagram, and then that's our third space. But I think we're lacking also like nobody approaches anybody in public. When's the last time you approached someone in a bar?
I do a lot.
Really?
I do a lot, yeah. I have to practice though, because I was in a relationship for 13 years. And after that, I'd forgotten. Obviously, I never really learned it because I was 16 when I got in the relationship, but I had no ability to, I don't know what the best way to put this, but I was out of practice of how to open a conversation up with a woman. So I used to just like write my number on pieces of paper and give them to waitresses, and just like that was like my entry point. Okay. There was one time I was on the underground in London, and I typed in, there's a girl sat opposite me that I thought was pretty, so I put in my notes. It was like, "Oh, you seem cool. Can I have your number?" And it was a packed tube, so you're not gonna like be able to talk to each other or anything. So I just handed her my phone. She like looked at it and was like, "Okay," and then text later and stuff like that. So there's those things that I would like practice and do. But yeah, at a bar, 100%, I would go and approach a woman. But I do understand why people don't, and it's because they're out of practice. You have to just do it. The first 20 times is going to suck, and you're going to get told to fuck off.
I feel like people don't really approach people in public anymore.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, like people are scared, I guess, and you don't want to get rejected, obviously.
As a woman, though, how would you feel if someone approached you? Give some advice from that perspective.
Well, I think it depends on how you approach. Obviously, if you're at a bar, obviously you like buy a drink. Can I get you a drink? And then, I'll know like, oh, okay, if I want to chat with you. If like not, I'll be like, oh, it's okay, I don't really drink.
Okay, what if you're not at a bar? What if, how would one of your chatters, best way to approach a woman?
You're like, fucked, I guess. Just kidding. You gotta practice.
You gotta go find that third space first.
Yeah. And I literally did a whole course. Actually, I did a presentation.
You did a presentation
stream.
on stream?
I was like, how to speak to women. The context, I was like, obviously you have to like make eye contact. Now I'm helping them. Like my stream's actually educational. So I'll like tell them first, like you're in a crowded space, you like try to lock eye contact, but then you have to like double check to make sure it wasn't just like a random eye contact, I would say like maybe check a couple times and then hold it for a little bit and see if she, like smiles or something. If you hold it, then like, okay, she wants you. Then you go up and be like, I don't know, I love your outfit. I love the way you did your hair. Like nothing about their body. Like don't comment on their body.
Okay.
Because that's just creepy. If you're like, oh, I love how big your ass is. Well, maybe it could work for some people.
Yeah, I think that's a bold one to go in. That's probably like a higher rejection rate.
Yeah. I'll say like go for something,
Go safe.
Yeah. And then and then try and talk to them there.
Is that presentation still online?
I have it in my Google Drive.
I need to see that. Was it like a full Google Slides?
Yes, I was doing Google Slides telling people what to do
Should put
and
that
telling
in
them how to dress.
Or something. That's funny.
I know.
It's funny because you're the first creator that I've come across that's like a genuine, consistent pillar though. And so a lot of people listening, they'll be like, why are they just talking about relationships and dating? But that's a huge part of what your content is.
Yeah.
And it is such a huge part of everyone's life. Like everyone has that pursuit to try and find someone who they want to spend the rest of their life with. That's very natural.
I'm just giving people what they want. But it's just like funny because my chat sometimes will call me out because now, I tell them my story because I've never been in a relationship longer than like 3 months, right? They're like, where's your credibility? I'm like, well, I listen to my friends and they tell me what happened. So I'll tell you what,
But it's a character and it's a show, which now obviously we're sitting here and I'm learning more about the content. That's so much more clear to me.
Yeah.
And it's smart and it's good. And it makes it more entertaining because you're basing it on real things, but you're stretching the truth a lot.
Well, kind of. But like the 3 months part is not false. But like
just in general though.
Yeah.
The different characters and so on. And you've built a personal brand very well, I would say. And you've built like a lot of lore around who you are and what you do. What is like the importance of building that personal brand and building a lore for creators trying to get in the space?
Obviously building like a character would help or like exaggerate some part of it. And if like chat comes up with something, how they perceive you, just like try and run with it. Like they thought like, oh, Lotus, like why'd you get rejected so many times? And I was like, perfect. I don't get bitches. Lotus, out for Lotus. Yeah.
That's smart. Okay.
Yeah.
And then experiment with like various niches. Okay.
Yeah. Like
identifying what doesn't align with you. Like being brave to actually go and be like, I am going to try and do X, Y, and Z on stream. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't work because you can try something else the next time. What are some examples of things you've tried on stream that have just completely flopped and failed and have not added to the lore?
I think, well, like the whole virgin thing was something I tried that like didn't really go along that well. I think most stuff hit because I am kind of an awkward person and I try to play into that. And so like me, being single, can't get a boyfriend, I'm awkward. So I like try to play it up like, oh, like I don't know how to talk to guys. I don't know. And I'll tell them like really bad stories of when it's kind of true though. Like there's one time there's a story time where like I hung out with this guy and I think I was so nervous that I started asking him a lot of questions like to get to know him. And then he thought I was aggressive. So he stopped talking to me.
Well, just because you're asking questions?
Yeah, because he wasn't talking that much. I was like, do you not talk? I guess I should have asked that. I was like, you don't really talk a lot, hon.
What kind of
And-
questions? Was it just normal dating
it's like,
questions, but you just
I was trying to
didn't
get to
stop?
know him. Yeah, I didn't stop. Like he'll answer out like another question. He'll answer another question. I was like, how many siblings you got? Like, where'd you go for school? Like, what do you like to do? I feel like they were natural, but then the delivery was not natural.
Poor blokes just having a meltdown, like trying to find.
I
a
think he was
space to
also
speak.
kind of shy. So I just kept at me. Tell me about yourself.
Did he tell you in person that he thought you were aggressive?
Yeah, he told
At the
me.
end of the day, he's like,
No. After I said like, oh, you don't really talk much, huh? And then he said, you're kind of aggressive. I was like, oh, I felt so bad. I was like, oh shit.
That's so good.
So it's like half true, half lie. I don't know. I get awkward sometimes.
That's good. No, and I think that's like a really good approach to have it, and it keeps a good protection between who you really are and who this online Lo3tus persona is. And ultimately, if you want to be entertaining and keep viewership, you've got to stretch the boat. And if that means building on a character, that's a really good way of thinking about it, I think.
I try to make it believable because some people think that like I want it to be relatable to my chat and say how I don't get dates, how I always fumble. Like
Right.
sometimes they buy it, but sometimes they don't. So it's like I have to make it really like, oh, I'm so awkward. I'm so bad with talking to people
Yeah.
so that it's believable.
So a lot of that content, like we've said, those hygiene clips that do viral numbers. I don't know what your highest viewed video is, but I imagine it's in the millions across the board. But you mentioned that a lot of the times you are concerned and trying to balance that between your artistic expression. Go into a little bit about what art means to you, how it integrates with your content right now, and how you'd like it to integrate with your content in the future.
I think I really put my art in like the back burner for a while I was trying to grow like my internet personality. And recently I started making more like videos talking about my art. Like I posted one yesterday. Even though like the numbers are not as good, I think it's like I want to start integrating more of that into my content. And when I post pictures, so normally I think when Instagram girls like post like pictures, it's more portrait. And I try to add more artistic elements to it where like I'm doing some funky stuff and to express myself that way. And I posted like clips of me playing the drums. And like I try to make edits. I used to make like edits of my outfits or just like random edits. And then what else did I do? Like I did a short film recently, like a fashion short film with my friend.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm trying to do more of artistic stuff so people know like I'm an artist. I'm an artist, you know.
And do you actively sell your artwork right now?
I have it art print out, but I think from that what I learned is that short form content is good, but I think to build a more loyal fan base, you gotta go long form. Like Twitch is really good, but then that's why I'm thinking about like doing more YouTube this year.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to sell merch or like products.
Yeah. And like what style of video with your art in mind do you see yourself wanting to go into with YouTube?
So I'm like a bit nervous about it right now because I've never done it before. So obviously I don't know if people are gonna watch or like that's always like something that it's like in the back of my head, but I know it's just like, you know, voices that you gotta like post it. You should post it anyways.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking was to really make this year like my transition from like I want to throw like a show at the end of the year. And so it'll be like documenting the journey of how someone who doesn't have like a fashion background, like actually put a clothing line together and then like do a show.
Wow.
I don't know how it's going to work, but it's
cool.
going to work.
And I love that you said that you're at a point where you are a little bit nervous about doing it and you're back to like almost square one of like challenging yourself again. But I think that's so important that as a creative, you are always pushing the boundaries and testing your own limits and trying new things because the more you fail, the more notches on your belt you rack up and you're like, okay, I'm more confident. I've dealt with this before and keep moving. And even if it doesn't go well, you will learn a lot from it, and which does mean it's gone well. Like, you know
I just think YouTube is a whole beast in itself.
Do you post any YouTube at all? I haven't checked out your
I've like
YouTube
posted
channel,
some shorts.
Okay.
But then like those solo like clips, like I make a video. So
those
they're
ones
like
I saw on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also like do a video
Right.
on YouTube. So like I'll just chat, and then it was just like practicing editing a longer form video and then talking about stuff and seeing how long people will watch. And some people are watching it. So I think it's just good to I should just do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm scared and nervous, but I think 12 months from now, I'll be fine. I'll be like, oh, I'll do it again.
I was going to say, if there's anything that I've learned throughout chatting to you about all the different stages of your life is that you are good at producing different platforms, different styles of content, and it being successful. And it seems to have a track record of always being successful. So,
but it's all short form. I've never done long form. That's what I'm like. I've never done it before.
But there was a point when you never done short form.
Yeah, that's true.
And you seem to have a plan then. So
Like thirst traps are so easy, you know. There was actually at a point where I was making like thirst traps on my Instagram. Not always going back to that, but it's like I wanted to do get ready with me, so I would start like just in my bra and like a shorts, and then those videos did so well. But then I thought about it.
it's a big growth hack.
It is, but is it really like the audience I want? Because I got good views, but I don't think it just wasn't anything.
Doesn't work the same for dudes. It's a shame.
I've seen guys cooking. Have you seen those like guys cooking like they're
My
fingering the
algorithm
dough
tends to not serve
and
me
stuff?
things like that.
Oh,
No. What do
like-
they do? They cook.
they make cooking very sexual.
Right. Okay.
They'll like slap the dough and then like finger the peach, and then I was like, "Whoa, chill." And then the girls in like there was a guy I saw. He just like chops wood half naked. He was like, "Oh," and make the noises, and all the moms are like, "Oh my gosh, you're so strong, Brad."
The internet's going on some crazy tangents, isn't it?
Yeah.
The AI is going to be the next serious change when AI can create these personas and do all the thirst traps
I've seen
for
AI
you.
live streams of like just like they'll have like a fake girl talking to people in chat. I saw on TikTok like twice.
Wow. And it's like looks photo real.
No, you can tell it's like fake, but they'd be like, "Thank you, Brad, for the roses."
Yeah.
But like people are talking. Like, why are you talking to this
that's
AI
scary,
person?
Isn't it? I want to do a series where I sit and chat to the AI, ChatGPT. I don't know if you've seen this film, Her, with Joaquin Phoenix. I
Yeah.
want to like do like a spin on that and
We're
actually
gonna start
chat to it.
having like actual AI girlfriends and boyfriends.
I think that's going to be common.
because with ChatGPT, you can like I saw a girl flirting with her ChatGPT because
Yeah.
of the voice. He sounds like a real person, and he was like laughing, flirting back.
Laughing.
Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy. I need to try that.
and people in the comments are like, "Oh my god, he sounds so hot." Anyways,
So on like live stream, I know we've talked about
Yes.
the future of what you want to do with the YouTube side and the fashion show. Anything that you need support with on that, you got to let us know because that sounds cool as fuck. I'd love to help. But I want to talk about the future of live streaming because we spoke about this off air, and a bunch of my friends at home, in my 30s, 31, and my mates northeast of England, was asking them, you know, curious, have you heard of X, Y, and Z, and so on. And Kai Cenat, to me, is one of the most up and coming people on the planet, let alone in our niche. They never heard of him, none of them, which I thought was absolutely wild. And we had that discussion of like, what is the future of content? You know, should you put in more effort on YouTube for the longer forms, which I think, yes, absolutely. But I do think live streaming is a huge next big wave of content that the mainstream is still missing. Why do you think like that is?
well, I feel like live streaming has always been a thing because like TV back then. I mean, even now, people live stream like shows or concerts, and like the I forgot where the Rolling Loud. Do they live stream that?
I imagine they do. Like Coachella's live stream, Stagecoach is all live
But
stream.
now it's just more on a personal level,
Yeah.
I'd say. But it's like basically watching TV. It's the next TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think I actively watch live stream because I feel like you have to really dedicate yourself to like watching a person.
Yeah, I think it's almost like you're making that choice to that's your content for the night. You know, I personally am more of like a film guy. I'd like stick a film on, and even if I don't finish it, I'm not bothered. Like that's the medium I like to consume, and I know a lot of younger audiences like to consume what their friends are talking about at school.
Yeah.
So if their friends watch Kai Cenat, and they miss out on the lunchtime conversation at school. It's like, shit, I have to watch Kai tonight to be able to be relevant in the conversation at school tomorrow. So I think that's naturally where it is. But it's so clear that live streaming is here to stay, and you've got Kai Cenat leading the charge, and you've got really smart creators like Kevin Hart, who's proven time after time he's relevant and he understands what's going on in the world. He's jumping on Kai Cenat's, going for sleepovers for multiple days. I think that's genius, and he spots it. John Cena jumping on, and then we saw yesterday Kanye West has rang Kai Cenat. It was a weird clip, but almost as if Kanye was pretending to be his own manager.
Okay, I was going to say, is it actually his manager or is it Kanye? Because people were saying, oh no, that's actually him, because it sounds like him. But then
I think it was him.
Apparently it was his manager saying.
I think it was Kanye, because then Kanye himself put on his story, I think it was The Last of Us 2, was like his favorite video game of all time. So he is clearly leaning and understanding the live stream power. And yeah, I think it's inevitable that that's going to become one of the biggest mediums in 2025 now.
We're cooked. I think about that because I mean, as a streamer, I think it's great, but also I'm just wondering, like, where are people getting social interactions nowadays? Because I don't think interacting with your streamer is like, does that count as social interaction?
No, I know what you mean. And I think
it's a bit
there's
concerning.
different layers to it. I think there is a scale, and I think on one negative end, there's people who maybe don't leave their house a lot of the time. You know, with Uber Eats and the ability to get food delivered to you, and you don't actually have to leave. Work from home is a big thing, and their entertainment and their social interaction is talking to a live stream. I think that's the deepest negative end of it. And then on another end, like I said, a lot of these audiences are young and they're at school, and at nighttime when I was a kid, you know, I was going to play video games or whatever, and now, if I could just sit and watch a streamer and that's my entertainment instead of watching The Simpsons, then tomorrow when I go to school, I'm relevant in the conversation with the kids that I'm friends with. I think that's natural, and it could almost aid your social interactions if you keep it up with live streamers. Yeah. But yeah, I do think it's a very big shift in medium, and I do think it's quite dangerous with the live streams. You know, we've seen a lot of negative things happening live and people going live to do certain terrorist acts and so on. I know some of my friends are live streamers that have been followed and been stalked, and viewers will randomly turn up and drop in on them and think it's okay to
that's what I mean. People are parasocial and they think they know you, but they don't. Yeah.
It's like, how do you draw that line? And I think it's someone hard. Like yourself, who a lot of your content is like being so authentic and being honest and telling like a lot of your personality, then it is. Yeah.
That's the thing. I think about it. Like, I would say I'm pretty authentic. Like, I'm pretty much myself, except, you know, sometimes I'll like play things up, but I feel like some people like do get it, but some people don't.
So no one's dropped in on you live yet though. That's good. Well,
when I go out now, I try to always have like someone with me. Yeah. I don't stream by myself. Yeah. But also, I don't think I'm like that big at the point where people are following. Like, if I was Pokimane, I would not be IRL. Like,
I don't think she'd be able to, would she?
Yeah, she's so big. Like, everyone's gonna try and find her.
That's insane. Yeah. I know I watched a live stream with XQC, and obviously he sits in his room most of the time and doesn't go out, but he did a few IRLs.
People find him, right?
Yeah. He went to a skate shop I think he was in Venice. Went to a skate shop to get like a skateboard built and so on. And as he's building the skateboard, the phone is non-stop ringing off the hook. And he stood there, and the guy is like, what? And answering the phone, looks really weird around the place, and then puts the phone down. XQC's like, you should probably just unplug the phone while I'm here, because my chat know I'm here. They're just going to ring off the hook. They're going to say weird things. And then again, phone rings. And he keeps answering it. And eventually he's like, dude, trust me, you've got to just turn the phone off, because they're not going to stop ringing until I leave. It's like, can't go anywhere. Yeah. And then they went to the skate park, and there was loads of people coming up to him. Yeah. But it was pretty wholesome for the most part. There wasn't any negative interactions going on, which is nice. But I do imagine that can happen. Yeah. It is a sketchy scenario. But you can put a delay on, right? And say 10-minute delay on the stream, but then you can't actually interact.
Yeah. So I try not to have delays.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So what do you think the future of live streaming is going to be for not necessarily yourself, but just in general? Where do you see it as going?
I think it's going to be the next reality show people watch.
Right.
Because like there like Kaisenet did like a 30-day stream, basically a reality TV show. And like I know FaZe does 30-day stream. They did one I think in October or November. Yeah. So it's like there's drama on there. Who knows if it's real or not, but it's basically like a reality show.
That's a great way of describing it to someone who doesn't understand
The
it.
new reality TV is live streaming.
And it is just about the producers and the directors and the money coming from other industries and turning their heads towards it. And they'll start pumping it in and they'll start monetizing it. Yeah. Because FaZe is a good example of that. FaZe have got way more than just the guys who are on camera. They have a whole production squad behind them, setting up the cameras to the point where the guys just have to turn up and be themselves and have as much improv skills as they possibly can. And I think they script a lot of it. I think it's like loosely, this is what's going to happen. And then the words and so on will just come out naturally. But yeah, you've nailed that. It's the future of reality TV.
Because it feels more real than like a...
Well, it is more real. And I recently have been wondering about like the negative effects of the YouTube stereotypical creators like a Mr. Beast and everyone he's indirectly trained how to YouTube, because he hacked the system in how to mesmerize a child, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the modern day Pied Piper story, where he like uses flute and convinces every child to follow every action that he does. And I'm now starting to see it through like a little bit of a negative lens, and I'd love to ask him about it one day. But he has figured out how to get a hold of a child's mind and be like, do not stop watching my show. Because he masterminded, looked at his YouTube algorithm and pinpointed it, and then taught every other creator how to do the same thing. You know, now a lot of people create in his style, and I think there's a lot of kids who are just fully addicted to the dopamine hit of watching those styles of video. And I think there'll be like a little bit of a renaissance where people are like, wait a minute, I don't want to be locked in 100% all the time.
Yeah.
You know, when I watch a film, I love being drawn in and then pulled away, and then there's time to chill in the film. There's different scenes and it's up and down, and it's like exciting. Whereas with a lot of those videos, it's like a fucking headache.
Yeah.
So I do think live streaming combats a lot of that, because you can't make it fake. You can't edit every second down.
Yeah. Just blending reality with, I don't know what's real or not.
I know. It's definitely going to be an interesting one to watch. And then the VR side of things I'm really interested in, and like a viewer being able to like watch in a virtual sense.
Oh my gosh. If virtual like reality live streaming is a thing,
I think it can't be far off, because the cameras exist.
Because then it's like, oh gosh, how do we want to think about it? Because like I'm sure, because the way I see it, it's like someone wears a VR set and the streamer just like standing right there.
Yeah, I think because they'll have the 360 camera like next to them or on a backpack. I think that'll be a thing.
Then it's like I think the parasocial people are going to get so crazy because you're basically in the room with them.
Yeah. Have you tried VR much?
No.
It's scary. It's scary.
I don't really want to tap into that. I'll just remain on a screen. I feel like I like having a degree of separation, both for myself and my chat. I think it's important because I don't like... I used to kind of cross boundaries. I think what I've learned as a streamer, like to really, for my mental health at least, it's like I used to like really engage with my chat like in private messages as well on Discord and things like that. But I feel like it opens up a door to just when things get really confusing with on stream, off stream, and then you're really not parasocial anymore. You're like directly interacting with them. So I don't answer any like private message. I just keep everything like on stream or like in general Discord. I feel like it's a good like, because I want people to have their own lives. I still want them to not be so, caught up in
the conflict a lot of live streamers will have. I know you said that, particular people who don't like their own chat and they don't like what they're doing. but it pays the bills.
I think every streamer has a love-hate relationship with their chat,
Okay.
in my opinion. Because like your chat sometimes, you know how you joke with your close friends because you know them, and then sometimes you could like be a little silly, but like because you know them, but like some chat will like actually think they're your best friend and it'll talk to you like a best friend, and they'll say, oh no, like they wouldn't do that. Like how do you know the streamer like that?
Yeah.
You know, and then sometimes I think streamers want to do stuff because their chat are saying, oh, you should do this, you should do this. And then they don't like, the easiest example is like gaming versus just chatting. I think some of my friends like don't like playing games because their view goes down.
Yeah.
But when they chat, their view goes up. So then it kind of determines like what they're going to do. But like gaming is easy to stream because you don't have to like talk that much. But views goes up when you just chat. But that takes a lot of energy.
Right, and almost like dictated by what the chat wants, not by what they love and what they want to do. Yeah, there's a term, friend of mine works in recruitment, and she used to say it was the golden handcuffs. So you're stuck in the industry because you make so much money, but it's a very toxic environment, and it's not very fulfilling for a lot of individuals. Some people fucking love it and it crush it and it's good. But I know she particularly was like, I don't like it, but I love how much money I make from it. As a result, the golden handcuff. And I think that could be said for a lot of streamers potentially then as well, that maybe start out with a good love for what they're doing. And they start growing and they naturally, as you would, you know, you're trying to make a living off it, you'll follow what makes money. And the elements that make money might not be the elements they love. And they follow that rabbit hole and they'll find themselves somewhere where it's like, wait a minute, I've lost all love for this, but it's now paying my bills. And to go back, it's like, I've got a certain lifestyle standard now that I want to stick to. So I imagine there's a lot of streamers that get to that point and then struggle and like don't know what to do after that.
Yeah, I think people who like force themselves to be like just chatting where they like to gaming because the numbers, they might get too tired. Yeah. And like they don't love it.
Talk to me about stress.
I feel like I don't know how to manage stress that well. And a lot of it, I usually think it's like anxiety, but I don't know if it's like, because I feel like anxiety is such a broad emotion. It's like anger. It's covering up for something, but I don't really know exactly what. It could be fear, honestly, that I'm like, I never know like where I'm going. So I'm like constantly like scared for like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? I think it's always in the back of my mind. That's why I get so stressed. But I don't know how to like.
But you seem to overcome that pretty well because you're still going, you still work hard, and you still get through it. And
well, like regardless, because if I don't, I'm not gonna have a house, like a place to stay. You know, I gotta pay bills. But I would say like this stress is less stressful than my last job because I think stress management is very important, and a lot of streamers I think don't have the best lifestyle. Because I try to, well, I was like that before. Like I was sleeping at like 4 or 5 a.m. because I was streaming until like 3 a.m. And then I'd wake up super late, and that just made me feel really bad. And I wasn't going to the gym. But
and you switch that schedule?
Yeah, now I try to have a more 9 to 5. Like I'll wake up 9 or like 10. I tried to wake. There was like a few days where I was waking up like 7 ish, but I had to go to bed really early. But then sometimes like you have to go out and socialize. I would say sometimes like partying is like networking with people.
Absolutely.
So like I try to, like I can't completely not go and meet people.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So you've got more of like a normal schedule with the stream now though?
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's good. Yeah, because you're right. Some people go to like unhealthy levels of streaming 12 hours a day and do nothing else. And I know Valkyrie, you said there was a clip Valkyrie put out where she was like feeling like people around her age in her 30s were settling down. They had kids and they've got families and so on. Whereas she felt that she'd maybe stunted her own growth by being in this streaming world where, you know, always communicating and pondering towards chat. I may have butchered the exact thing that she said, but she did feel like that scheduling wise didn't allow her to grow in the same way that people in her same cohort and age group did.
That's an interesting point. I could see that happening because I do think streaming, it's kind of young. Like audience I would assume her audience are pretty young, and then you kind of just. I think the more popular you get, the more viewers are probably like younger kids.
Yeah. And if you are not careful with the way you put out, back to what we said just before, it's like you don't want to ponder to what they want. It's like you've got to stay true to yourself and do what you like during the streams. And I think that will keep you a little bit more sane and keep you growing. So if you were starting out fresh right now, today, what would you do? How would you approach the live streaming world?
I would say stream, even though if no one's watching, pretend someone's watching and then clip it. I think clipping is super important. Like people talk about clip farming, like posting your... I think it's really hard to grow if you only stream. You need like TikTok or Instagram or other social media platforms to post your clips, so then people are interested in like, oh, this person's streaming, I wonder what they stream about. Then they'll click into your stream. So I think it's very hard to just stream and only be like stream, because every streamer I think posts their clips somewhere else. Yeah, so definitely post.
It's your marketing,
clips.
Isn't it? It's the way you fish for views.
Be consistent. Have a good schedule, and then have a Discord server. Talk to your chat. I think Discord is good for community building. Like you have people in your server that could like, they all watch you, and then they could like meet other people who, you know, they might have interest in, like make friends, and then that's where I post like my updates and stuff. But I don't use Discord like that much. I only go in there to like usually update when I'm streaming, and then sometimes I'll pop in like the general chat and see what people are talking about.
Right. Okay.
And then I'll just like talk to them.
So are you like heavily active in the general chat on a daily basis,
like,
or is it more just like see where like temperature check for what I'm going to talk about on stream?
Yeah. I'll tell them, oh, I'm having a collab today at this time. Yeah.
That's cool. How important is collaboration?
I feel like streaming, it's important, but I feel like I think you should build your own audience first before collabing. I don't think you should just jump straight into it. Although if you're friends with like a big streamer, maybe like their viewers will start liking you and you can stream more.
That makes sense. And how does the collaboration function actually work on Twitch? So you like so like, let's say I went live now and there was a buddy of mine who also streamed. Is there a way to link them now?
Oh, you can do like shared chat.
Really?
Yeah. Now you can. But like for collabs, I usually do it in person. Like I don't do like
and you set up your own live?
Yeah.
Okay. And so then if you were live now and I had a live stream running, you would have a separate device running with your own live stream.
Well, if you have like a IRL toolkit, like I'll probably have my own server, and then I can connect one person. Because I'm on the cheaper version where I only have like one connection. I can add your Twitch to my server, and it'll go live at the same time with like the same screen.
Oh, that's cool. Same camera, same mics. Okay, but it's two different broadcasts, two different chats.
And then you can add the chat together to like, there's a shared chat function, so you can see everybody's.
That's cool. Chat. They're making it much easier.
Yeah,
when I was streaming, that was never a thing.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
So that's good advice then. I think the biggest thing is consistency, and then doing something you love. And then even if nobody watches, you're still doing something that you love, right?
Yeah, and like pretend that you're talking to someone. That's what I did. I was just like, oh my gosh, guys. Yeah.
Or do something where you don't need to talk. So if you are just sitting painting like we're about to do, then it is what it is. You get away. That's cool. All right. What do you want to paint?
Well, I was thinking we could paint like a self-portrait. We draw what you think you look like.
Like physically, or you mean just like an abstract?
It could be abstract.
All right, okay, fine. What I had in mind still kind of counts as that.
What was your...
I'll draw it and I'll show you when we're done.
Okay.
Is that how we're doing it? We're both going to draw at the same time and then flip them? Okay, let's do it. For anybody watching the podcast at this point, I will... if you want to see this, go on Instagram, because I'm not going to put this into the podcast.
Okay.
When's your next live stream? What are you doing?
Tomorrow. I think I'm chatting, doing some confessions. I'm trying to think, like, I need to do... So the reason why I do more on my stream, like, I try to change it up because I get bored if I do the same thing. So I try to, like, think of activities. Probably I'll watch a movie tomorrow in my chat.
Do you show Twitch?
No. So I watch on Discord and then just stream my face.
Right. Okay. So they can watch it on Discord with you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's like, I don't want to get copyrighted.
Yeah. And you can play the audio through Discord as well?
No audio.
No.
So people join and just see me.
What?
But like, it's fine.
If they joined on Discord, could they hear it?
Yeah, they could hear. No, they can't hear me, but like they hear the movie.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So you could go in on Discord, watch and listen.
So
to the
like
movie
they
at the
can
same
have
time as
me
you.
and the Discord.
Yes. Okay.
So it's kind of like they're watching with me.
That's
and
cool.
they just type in chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. What movie are you gonna watch?
I don't know. I usually watch really sad romance movies.
Fits
like,
with the brand.
Maybe it's just like good excuse to cry as well. I feel like crying is good for the soul.
Happy movies make me cry.
Really?
Sad movies never make me cry.
Why?
I don't know. I need to maybe talk to a therapist about that one.
Yeah, maybe like how are you doing?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, that one is good.
That one makes me cry. And he gets the job at the end. It's like, fuck yeah, dude. Go for it. Moana gets
I never
me
seen
deep.
the new one.
I've not seen the new one, but the original makes me cry.
Yeah. Oh, movies with like daughters that have good relationship with their dads gets me every time. Every time. Like, I got a tattoo as well.
I saw 444.
No, I got a tramp stamp.
Okay, you got.
So no.
What does the 444 represent?
Oh, this. I like the number 4, but then I got it because I knew I wanted to get tattoos one day.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, might as well just try it. And then I was drunk at a party too, so.
You gonna get the 2?
I think I might. Well, I want to get like a sleeve one day, but then the only reason I would get a sleeve is maybe if I work as a tattoo artist.
Okay.
So I was like, maybe that could be my other arc of like doing tattoo.
You can turn your art into tattoo. Yeah, one of my good friends was a really good artist at school, and never thought about being a tattoo artist at all. And then one day he was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna
it just
buy
seems
this
cool.
stuff and try it."
Yeah.
And trained and turned his art into tattoos, and now he's a full-time tattoo artist. Yeah.
That seems cool. If I became a tattoo artist, I get, oh my God.
I want to get a tattoo artist to come here and tattoo some.
If you wait
know-how
until I get
stuff.
my license one day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I trust you.
No, see, you don't. I'm a trustworthy person.
Okay.
I swear.
And it's not that I don't trust you as a person. I don't know how good you'd be with a tattoo gun that's not going to excruciatingly kill me.
No, I'll be so good.
Okay. Maybe one day. On that note, thank you very much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun.
Yeah.
You're a cool story, and I'm excited to see it continue and keep growing.
Oh, yeah.
And to see the never-ending posting daily.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I'd be spamming.
It's impressive. There's only one other creator that I know that does that I'm like personally know. It's a guy called Arav in the UK, and he posts daily on all platforms. YouTube videos, long form daily as well.
That is crazy.
Yeah, but he does gameplay IRL, so he doesn't have to leave the house for most of it, which makes it a lot easier, obviously. But
like editing long form down to
all.
like.
Yeah. So good for you. I respect the grind.
Thank you.
If you ever want to come on and talk about next projects, so if you get the fashion show in the works, you're more than welcome to come back.
I think it'll be cool if I come back at the end of the year.
Let's do it.
Do like see how that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
That'd be
Thanks
sick.
for bringing the paints. That was fun. All right. Let's go get some dinner.
Yay.